two-way civilian, two-way political civilian coming at you again. And we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to push towards some legislation that we could actually see affect us as gun owners. And this is actually a moving step in the right direction, like way in the right direction. So what I'm talking about is the Hearing Protection Act, which will deregulate suppressors, and the Short Act, which will deregulate short barrel rifles and everything in the such like that. Let's go back to why they were regulated in the first place. Basically, mobsters were using automatics. Then they made the NFA. The GCA basically came upon to piggyback off of that, basically saying that nobody needs to have these, or you need to pay a $200 tax stamps, which nowadays with inflation would be about $3,000 per item that you have to regulate. But what does this mean for us? That means for some reason, if you have a rifle that's really short, you either have to put a pistol brace on it or you have to register it as an NFA item, because they think that those are somehow more deadly than normal rifles, when in fact it's quite the opposite. Shorter barrels, you get less velocity. You can shoot them out to shorter distances. Can't shoot them long distance like you can with other ones. They lose lethality the shorter barrel you go, as well as even suppressed, they're still very, very loud, especially the rifle cartridges. They're still really, really loud out of suppressors. Even subsonics are still loud. They might be hearing safe and they might not pop your ears, but they are still noticeable. If it's not like a 22 or anything, listen to that rain. Beautiful. If it's not 22, then it's ipso facto still very loud, still very noticeable to the naked ear, and not quite. I don't know if they thought that there was like some quiet assassins or something going around just shooting people, or I don't know how they thought that would go about, but it's definitely not really affecting. Criminals don't follow these laws, so these laws are on the book to affect criminals and in fact to stop criminals, but criminals are not following these laws. So what do we need you to do? Where can this go and everything? I think that it will pass Congress from what they're saying. Y'all got to keep calling your local reps, keep calling your representatives on the watch Guns and Gadgets video as well as Guns and Gear. Both of them, Mr. Guns and Gear, both of them have the numbers to your local reps and everything so that we could push this through. Senator Clyde said that he's probably going to push it through with both of them trying to get the Short Act. And, I would be happy if just the Hush Act or the, because it's been different names. What was it called? The Hearing Protection Act, the H.P.A. I would be happy if that happened, because at first they were going to pass with just a $0 tax stamp. But us as the people, we pushed back and we said, no, that's not good enough for us. We need to take it off of the NFA. We need to deregulate them, because there's no reason why in other countries they have these as unregulated items. Basically like this nail, right? This nail is useless without a hammer. So let's do a background check on the hammer and the nail. That makes no sense. So what we're trying to do is basically just be able to buy this, because we already have the hammer. We already do the background checks for the hammer, right? We're still probably going to have to do background checks on the nail. But if we didn't have to give our fingerprints, passport ID, notify our local sheriff, and have to wait to get approved by the government, in addition to having to do the background check. If we didn't have to do all of that just to get the suppressor, that would be nice. And the same thing with SBRs, SBAs, all of that stuff. If we could just do the background check, because it's not going to be completely deregulated. Let's get that, I don't think that's accomplishable right now, considering the time frame and everything like that. I think that it's possible to get it to where you just have to do the background check for it, and you'll still have to pay, the transfer fee, whatever. But you won't have to do your fingerprints. You won't have to do all of this stuff. So that being said, I think it's accomplishable. We just have to keep up the pressure, keep pushing it through. We did this with the short barrel, with the pistol brace thing. We got those basically like the ATF was trying to, push us through, basically making us all criminals, and we got this. We got that taken care of with the help of you guys calling your local and state reps. I cannot stress that enough. I've already called mine about 3 times, and I'm thinking about doing like a email format where I send it out and y'all can just, enter your rep's name and enter your name. And then you just keep sending, keep like, we need to keep up this pressure and let them know midterms are coming up. If you don't push the stuff that we want you to push through, then what's the point of us electing you? We're not going to give you the vote next time. Make sure y'all letting them know. Make sure y'all telling that. If y'all want our vote for this, you feel me? Because what else is more important really than this to gun owners, right? We all want to have short barrel rifles, suppressors, short barrel shotguns, all with basically, you could buy it online, get it shipped to your dealer and not have to wait for that $200 tax stamp, because that could take, even though they're coming back real fast now, that's defeating the point. It shouldn't have to be a process at all, right? There's no reason, because we can still buy short barrel rifles as pistols. We could still buy short barrel shotguns just as a non-firearm or as a just a quote-unquote firearm. We could still buy suppressors, but we have to get the $200 tax stamp. It makes no sense. Suppressors definitely are not hurting as much as they're helping. They're helping people with the hearing. They're helping protect the environment from loud noises, and they're stopping as much lead from getting in the environment as would if they just, if it was just shooting out into the air, right? Because it's containing a lot of that, and it's getting on the walls and the baffles, whatever. No matter what type of suppressor you have, even if you have a flow through, it's still trapping a lot of that those gases, which are bad for the environment, right? So it's helping. Suppressors are helping way more than they're hurting. But the thing that deters a lot of people from buying them is that big old process where you have to wait a couple months and you have to get permission from daddy government to own something that you already paid for. Get them permission. And the thing is, you also have to put it in a trust or a single shot trust. So that means only certain people can have it and touch it. You can't travel state lines. You have to ask for permission to travel with your property, your stuff that you already bought. You have to ask for permission to take a trip with it and go shooting in a training class or whatever. Like, you think they're not keeping up with that stuff? You think they're not keeping tabs on you with this stuff? Like, come on, think about it, guys. Anyways, I'm hoping that this Hearing Protection Act passes. The Short Act, I think most of the Short Act has really been null and void. Like, I know that they're not really getting that much tax stamps and stuff from that. But that being said, if the Short Act can pass, in which they're saying it has a really good chance, then the Hearing Protection Act, if they both can pass, that will be great. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Make sure y'all calling y'all state, local reps. Please, 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 please call your local state reps. If you need the numbers, I know VSO Gun Channel has listed them. Guns and Gadgets has listed them, and Mr. Guns and Gear. They all have videos where they're talking about this more in depth, and they're more experts. They actually have friends on Capitol Hill. I'm using this information that I got from them, but you can look up the legislation yourself and see that they are trying to push this through. And even Representative Clyde said that they're trying to work on a new bill to push through so that they can get it to Congress. And with Trump being back now, he said he's probably going to sign it with the pro 2A stuff. Everybody thinks that Trump is anti 2A. I was one of them, because I was like, hey, he was the only one who actually did something. He banned bump stocks, but now bump stocks are legal, FRTs are legal. We'll talk about that in a separate video. But yes, make sure y'all pushing this through. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to get suppressors just with the background check. No hoops and all of this stuff to jump through. All you gotta do it like a normal background check. Boom. Pay your background or your transfer fee, whatever. If you have one, you can order it online, get it shipped straight to your store. Boom, they got it. Call it up. And by the way, do y'all think it's true that Silencer Central is trying to stop this? If that's the case, then man, this is crazy. Because it makes sense that they would try to stop this, because they would lose a lot of their business, because they do like the they do all the paperwork and stuff for you, and they make the process for you so that you can get it shipped straight to your house. I think that they can still do business though if you get it sent straight to your house, because they technically can do the background check and stuff for you still, and then just get it sent straight to your house. But I think they would lose a lot of their money, because they take a lot of the headache out of buying suppressors. But if it's just as easy as buying a lower, then they would lose, I think, a lot of business, maybe even go out of business. But with them partnering with PSA, I'm curious to see how this goes. I haven't seen none of their None of their responses or anything like that. I'm gonna probably check that out in a later video and see. But after I talk about some SIG stuff, we gotta talk about SIG too. They've been tripping. They have been tripping, just straight in denial. I mean, but I get it, trying to save face. But I think SIG sales are up. To be honest, it's like when rappers have beef, and then both rappers who are beefing come out with albums. They're tricking you into buying their stuff. Like, come on, be for real. But let me know what y'all think. If y'all are kind of pissed because you have a lot of suppressors, or if you're looking forward to buying one and hope that this passes so that you can get one and make it easier. I think that Trump is the one that can do this, because he, and I was explaining this to my friends. The president doesn't make the bills. All he does is sign them, but he can put people in place in his cabinet, in the Senate and in Congress, so that they can help pass the stuff that he wants to push, which makes sense, right? So if he wants to pass this stuff, all you have to do is get the right people in place and push it through. And it is plausible. With us having the House and the Senate and the presidency, this is plausible. I hope this passes. This would be really nice. Suppressors for all. All right, y'all. Peace.